reasons we really were drawn to NetSuite were the scalability, the data quality, automation, and flexibility it provided.
We did some research on what are some of the best systems out there. Everyone that we spoke to said NetSuite, 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 NetSuite.
Pretty much every area of our business runs on NetSuite today.
We're truly unleashing the suite. We leverage NetSuite, CRM, ERP, financials, CPQ.
We added the fixed assets module, the advanced revenue management module, the NetSuite One World module, suite billing, suite approvals.
We use it across every single channel that we're in, and we use it in a way that is our single source of truth.
Everybody in our company is now looking at the same information at the same time. We're making better decisions and we're making them faster.
And the fact that NetSuite is based on a lot of the Oracle underpinnings, so be that AI, be that data analysis, be that speed of the cloud access. If we didn't have that technology, we wouldn't be market leading.
We see NetSuite providing us innovative tools and services that allow us to optimize our business, see our business in a different way, and really harness the power of AI within the suite. So the power of the suite just being amplified.
Please welcome to the stage Amit Suxena, Head of NetSuite Asia, Oracle NetSuite.
Well, welcome, good morning. Welcome to the very first SuiteConnect in Singapore. Well, I'm really glad to see that we have people here not only from Singapore, but I've seen people travel from Hong Kong, from the region in Southeast Asia, as well as from India. So really excited. I'm always excited to see. I think I still have a little bit of post-COVID blues when I did not see that many people together. So this is really exciting. As the first true cloud company in the world, the first true cloud software company in the world, and through 25 years of continuous growth, today NetSuite is trusted by over 41,000 customers globally. 41,000. And through all these years, one thing has remained constant, and that is for us, the customer is central to everything which we do. So today, SuiteConnect is no different. It is all about you, our customers. It is all about us hearing from you, your win stories. It is helping you strategize through any kind of issues which you see. It is for us to really introduce you to more of the incredible NetSuite members here so that we can continue to work with you and grow your success. Before I start, I would of course like to thank our sponsors, who are the ones who really make all of this possible. So a big shout out to our global diamond partners, Siligo, as well as our gold partners, NetGain and Lancia Consult. Now be sure to visit them in the SuiteConnect lounge where you were just before we started, because not only them, you could also interact with our other partners and hear what are the exciting things they have for you. Now, while you are at the SuiteConnect lounge, there are some other interesting things I would definitely encourage you to visit today. First off, the demo grounds. Really incredible. Some of the products which you hear about today, you can actually see a live demo of that in the demo grounds. And then for our existing customers and existing customers only, we do have the inspection. So you could go there, get customized reports on how you are using our system, the performance, the utilization. And the best part is that you will get personalized recommendations on how you could improve. We do have our education advisors, again, some people you should not miss, whom you can have one-on-one sessions with, and they could look at what your needs are and tell you of what the resources available are for you. And I totally, absolutely love the Suite Gurus, right? You can ask them everything and anything. Well, not about directions to the toilets and stuff like that, but surely anything technology, anything about NetSuite product. And then I would encourage you to go to our customer corner, where you could learn about increasing your brand awareness by joining our customer referral program. Now, the agenda for today. Well, this keynote is going to be jam-packed with some exciting product news, as well as we would be joined by our incredible customers on a customer panel discussion. Post that, we will have lunch in the lounge, and then we have some very, very interesting breakout sessions, right? There are different topics we would discuss, like, how do you power your growth with NetSuite? How you can use AI in planning and budgeting, unlocking hidden things in your data. So do join us for the breakout sessions. And then, of course, we reconvene here for an amazing session on AI everywhere, to look at how generative AI and AI agents are driving efficiency and innovation. We will end the day with a networking session. I am positive you will all stay for that. We get to meet each other and exchange some exciting ideas. Now, SuiteConnect Singapore is actually our 9th stop on the SuiteConnect World Tour. So really exciting. We have been to all these amazing cities, and the last one was in Sydney last week, and now we are here in this incredible city, Singapore. Now, Singapore might be small in size, but it is definitely big on global impact, right? Not only is it the financial and the economic center for the region, we are also seeing that it is a leading destination for PE, VC firms, for fintech firms, as well as it continues to be the key logistics and trading hub for the region, right? And then combined with this, if you look at some of the very interesting grants which are there, which the Singapore government gives, it basically lowers the barrier to entry especially for small businesses, as well as it drives innovations and growth. So really, quite an incredible opportunity in front of businesses here in Singapore. Now, when we look at all these opportunities, we talked to the business leaders in the region and asked them what are some of the trends they see which is shaping their business priorities, right? And these were some of the key trends, the major trends, which they mentioned to us are, shaping their priorities. Some of them did catch us by surprise. Well, the first one, which is no surprise, is change, right? Change is an absolute constant. Businesses have learned through years and years of disruption, and I must add, the last few days are no exception, that, the only thing you can really rely on is how you run your business and how adaptable you make your business to really deal with anything which comes our way, right? Now, just survival is really not enough, right? In this area of change, because it is all about growth. No matter what, businesses have to continue growing. Like if you look around you, you might see other companies who might be, streamlining their resources. They might be actually changing their priorities. But through it all, they all have strategies to grow, right? Your competition will always be there. And the external factors will never always be there, which is in positive. And again, as I say, things which are happening recently. So, you can't control the external factors. So how do you ensure that when we note that, change is an important priority an important trend for all business leaders, is one of the ways to deal with this is to have a very strong tech foundation. Now, this tech foundation, which helps you weather the storms, as well as helps you, in the sunny days to actually take advantage of the positive environment which you might have. Now, a strong tech foundation should basically always deliver these 5 key things for you. It should be giving you insights, should allow you complete control of your business, have agility to adapt to change faster, to collaborate with your customers, with your partners, as well as improve your productivity. So, this is one of the ways where you could actually deal with change. The second one was definitely not surprising. AI, businesses are looking at how do I take use of AI-powered innovation. Now, you could not have 3 people in the room today discuss technology and not discuss AI, right? Because AI is here today. It's here now. It's no longer a technology of the future, right? It has been growing at a breakneck speed. I don't think so. I have seen any other technology grow faster than what we have seen AI grow. So businesses today are actually already taking use of AI, right? They are in different ways. They are making use of this technology. One way is to increase productivity, right? Now, how are really customers doing that? That is by using solutions that fit AI-powered automation into what they do day to day, and hence improve productivity. For example, imagine your top talent is actually spending hours and days in shifting through bills or paying bills or reconciling accounts at the end of the month. Now, instead of that, people are using AI to actually automate all of that and help and allow this top talent to actually look at improving business processes and then hereby leading to better growth for your organization. The other thing, of course, which AI is also helping businesses is to get insights that lead to innovation, right? For example, you could be running predictive models and discover some of the hidden trends in your data, which was always there, but you were not looking at it. So there's an opportunity for all of you here today to make sure that you are taking full advantage of this AI, and we will talk about some of those things later today. The other one, which again shouldn't be of a surprise, and especially in Singapore, one of the things which is, shaping priorities for business leaders is the talent costs and the increasing talent costs in Singapore especially. Now, there is a need. Businesses recognize that they need to maximize the potential of their talent, right? So and especially in Singapore, they recognize the value of their talent, and they're always looking at how do we unlock the full capabilities of our talent. Again, I would say AI, just what I spoke about a little bit previously, this is where you automate some of the more mundane tasks, and which, of course, not only drives, efficiencies, reduces talent costs, but also what we are seeing is that it actually helps you retain talent, right? Because if you are giving your employees higher value things to do and not spend so much time on some of the mundane tasks, you would be able to retain your talent for longer. So talent costs, definitely, I agree, is something which is a top priority in this region. The other one is that, and this is unique to really Singapore, because in Singapore's regional leadership position, maintaining relevance through innovation is a non-negotiable, right? So business leaders are always looking at how do I get this technology advantage which gives me a cutting edge over rest of my competition. That competition could be through other countries, so that they are not taking away the regional leadership from Singapore, as well as within the region, each of the countries, how do they maintain the unique advantage? So, here I'm really glad that with NetSuite, you can always be confident that you are always using the latest technology through our regular updates, which are, of course, which inject AI into all the innovations which we are bringing your way and allowing you to, really do help, again, as I mentioned, retain your talent and basically be more productive. Also, I would like to point out is that we have a unique partner ecosystem in the region, and this offers you more ideas about innovation on how to maintain your technology advantage, more expertise. So again, be sure that you spend some time talking to our partners in the SuiteConnect Lounge. So we are, of course, at NetSuite continually working to bring you solutions that help you innovate faster and easier. So in our next section, we are going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into seeing these solutions, as well as some really exciting product news which comes your way. Now, as I said earlier, the one thing which is constant is change, and agility is everything. So I would like you all to virtually welcome our global head of product development, Gary Wiessinger. So I'm going to hand over to Gary now. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you all for being here today. Today is really all about unlocking value from the suite across all functions, business models, industries, and locations. If you're a business leader in 2025, chances are you're feeling pressure to make sure you're getting the most value possible from your technology. And you're not alone. 88% of execs in a recent survey said that getting measurable value from new technology was a real challenge for them. After all, the promise of technology is to make things easier for you, to do more while spending less. To address these challenges, we believe in two essential truths to keep in mind. First, successful businesses don't work in silos. And second, the role of finance continues to grow in importance and scope across the business. These principles are why we built NetSuite as an operating system for your entire business. It's not a system for only accounting or operations or any other single functional area. The suite has consistently expanded over the years to help you connect nearly every area of the business. It truly is one system, no limits. Today, NetSuite touches everything from accounting to FP&A to supply chain, project management, manufacturing, CRM, analytics, and beyond. For over 25 years, we've been focused on helping you unlock more value with new features and functionality to help you understand and direct your business more effectively, making sure that value extends from finance to operations to the rest of the organization. And now, AI is accelerating our ability to deliver value more than ever before, whether it's in the form of insight, control, agility, collaboration, productivity, or a combination of those. I'm going to turn it over to Edward Cheng, NetSuite VP of AI, to talk more about it.
This is so exciting. Finally, I am here in Singapore. Can you believe this? In just 2 days, I arrived 2 days ago. In 2 days, I had already tried chicken rice, laksa, and one called shrimp noodle. I don't even know what it is, but it tastes really, really good. I am so excited to be here from California because as the head of AI in NetSuite, they sent me here to share with you how we approach AI in NetSuite that would return the best intelligence and the best productivity through AI to your business and to your partnership. Now, I feel that the way that we are doing AI in NetSuite, it's really in a way that only Singaporean can understand. I was talking to my Singapore friends, and he told me about this paradigm, the first time I heard of it. And that is the Singapore government built Singapore as a city in the garden. Unlike many of the countries, they would build gardens, many little gardens, in different parts of the city. Singapore built the entire city in the garden, and therefore there's nowhere in Singapore you go to and you said, how come there's no greens? How come the air is not good? How come I don't see a garden? There's nothing like that. If you are in Singapore, you are in the garden. Am I right or not? Exactly that is the way how AI should be built in a large enterprise software. It should not be counting how many AI features do you have in your suite, How many AI features can I run in my HRM? That is not the way to think about it. AI should be from ground up, laying the technology foundation, like Amit, you said, lay the AI technology foundation. As a result, all of your product features basically take advantage of AI as is. Now, this kind of thing is easy to talk about, but exactly how do you put AI in the center of NetSuite? And how do you make AI everywhere? That is the big question. Now, you have to understand today when you leave SuiteConnect, go back to your company, and you start to strategize, how am I going to take advantage of AI? You basically are thinking, using AI to take these two roles in business environment. One, it gives you advice. So basically, it plows your data, understand the way that you are running a business, and discover intelligence, and give that intelligence back to you so that you can do better decision making. That is the first way. I call it advice. The second way that AI can help you is by doing assist, meaning that not only it gives you a recommendation, not only gives you an analysis of your business, but it actually will do something for you. Earlier, Amit already said it might be able to do continuous closing for you. So as a result, it doesn't take days or even weeks when you are closing your quarterly book. It takes hours to close a book. You eliminate a lot of the errors that you have to rip out in order to close a book. So that might be an example. Another would be sending communications to thousands of your customers in a customized way. And AI can perform that kind of thing. So that is what we call assist. Now, in NetSuite, the way that we build AI from ground up, enabling all of the product features to enjoy the power of AI, is basically by saying there is no difference between the city and the garden. There is no difference between AI and the product. You look at NetSuite product, you cannot say this part has AI in it, that part doesn't have AI in it. There's nothing like that. You look at NetSuite, you are looking at AI. You look at AI, you are looking at NetSuite. And because of that, we build AI into the product that you cannot buy it. It is for free. Isn't that a good thing in SuiteConnect? Exciting, right? That's the way how technology is supposed to work, exactly like what Amit was telling you. So here I want to not only share with you about this approach, I want to give you two examples. And with this example, I think you will understand it. The first example I want to talk about is a feature called Text Enhance. What Text Enhance does is it takes advantage of the large language model, which is basically the AI model behind generative AI. It is a model that understands text. It can operate on the text, do things such as do a summary of all your customer cases for you, and do sentiment analysis to give you a quick view of how much effort should you look at this customer. Am I looking at a potential churn? Am I looking at a situation where I can do upsell? How does AI help you? It's because it understands the text. Another example of Text Enhance would be you might be writing a communication, a collection letter to one of your customers, and you want to be a little bit stronger in sending this collection letter. AI understands the business context that you are dealing with and therefore recommend the right tone of voice to send that letter. Now, if you don't like it, you can prompt AI differently and say, I want to send a less strong, more friendly communication to my customer, and AI would respect that. Now, let us take a look at the demo and see how this works.
Here, I'm looking at a customer support case where the customer reached out to check on the status of an order they placed a few days ago. Let's see how Text Enhance can improve email communication with customers. I can see that the email response drafted by the support rep could use some polishing. Here are a couple of ways I can improve this response with Text Enhance. I can highlight certain parts of the email that need a little more polish. Let's try. Here, I'll highlight the text and use the cleanup action. I will click it and immediately get an improved response that corrects both spelling and grammatical errors, as well as better wording for the sentence that reflects a more professional tone. Or I can apply the cleanup action to the entire email by clicking on the Text Enhance AI icon and selecting Cleanup. And here's the result. The text is now clearer, more professional, and free of any typos or awkward phrasing. It's ready to send to the customer.
This is exciting. You look at this and you said, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Applying AI help us to write a polished communication with my customer. I think that is nice, but this is just a feature, right? No, this is not a feature. This is a capability that we build in the technology foundation. It's an AI foundation in such a way that everywhere inside NetSuite, as long as you have a long text field, this capability will show up. So in NetSuite, roughly there are about 250 areas that you can use this enhancement, not just for communication. It might be writing your job description. It might be writing your product item description. The ability will just show up. You don't have to ask for it. How did we do it? The reason is because we build AI ground up. So all the features, as long as it is relevant, would experience this kind of function. Our customers are actually already using this kind of capability to improve, to enhance their work, improve productivity, do more with less. And this time, I come to Singapore because I want to let you know this would be enabled in your region. Enable your business, your customers to also use this kind of feature. Now here you can see that they are using, this company is called, is in gardening product. It's called So Vital. They use this to actually polish one of their products. They have thousands of products, but it polished one of their products' item description. Now you look at this and you say, I know AI. I actually can do the same with ChatGPT. Not only I can do it with a product description, like what you said, in writing email, I can also do ChatGPT. In writing job description, I can do ChatGPT. So what is the difference? Main difference. Very major difference. The reason is because the secret sauce of generative AI is about prompting. You have to go to AI and let it know what do you need help for. And that is called prompting. And so in using ChatGPT, you have to tell ChatGPT what you want it to help you for. So if you want to write this item description, you have to tell ChatGPT you want this item description. How do you tell it? You can't just say, I want a product description. It doesn't understand what is your company. What company are you running? What product are you selling? How costly is your product? Is it for wholesale or retail? What region are you selling it to? What is your logistics, shipping strategy? ChatGPT would not know. The LLM inside the NetSuite product, you don't have to tell it because it is managing your business. It understands what is your industry, what you are doing with which customer, and how big is the deal, how costly is that product, and therefore they will tone it correctly. And so take a look at what Jack Lewis was saying, the CEO of So Vital. He said, working with NetSuite, out of the box, we get this feature that use the context inside our business data in NetSuite. And as a result, the tone of voice is spot on, exactly match the brand of our company. Now, using this kind of technology, you can imagine it's unlike when you are trying to cut and paste some of the work into ChatGPT and send it up to the cloud, and the whole world potentially will know about the way you're running your business. Here, you get security, performance, and scalability. Why? Because we build AI ground up. This is a technology that we give to you. It's not a feature. Now, with that already is powerful. But I think what is more powerful is because of this idea of building the city in the garden, building the product in AI. Therefore, when there are other AI capability, they interlock with one another and multiplex the power and give you even more. The other example I want to give to you to show you is called Prompt Studio. The secret sauce of using generative AI is in the prompt. Prompt Studio allows you to configure the prompt based on the different types of patrons, your use cases you are dealing with, depending on maybe the kind of business, the level of business, and so on to do it. Let's take a look at it.
Here in the item record, I can see that the sales description was generated using Text Enhance. I can also see the format for the content, the specific marketing tone, and the item code and name that were used to generate the content. Now let's go to the Prompt Studio. I have a list of prompts already created in the system, including this one for the sales description in the inventory item. When I open it, I can see all the settings for the record, and I can see which fields the prompt is deployed to. I can give this prompt a description and name, and in the prompt template, I can provide instructions in plain language to define which variables I want to include to generate my sales description. Maybe I'll play around and include a recommendation of what to wear with this item, including possible colors. I'll save this, go back to the item record, and regenerate the content. Now I see a new description that includes the recommendation.
So this is amazing. When these two features, because they are not just a product feature, they are a technology foundation. When they combine together, sky is the limit. For some of you guys who are partner here, you can already see it. You basically use Prompt Studio together with the capability of Text Enhance. You can return back to your customer to basically build any LLM feature that can harvest the potential of all that text to give the intelligence back to them. And together with the APIs, a programmatic interface suite script that you can basically implement many suite apps for your customers. As far as I understand, there's no industry leaders in the world that can give you this level of combination of technology platform. So that's why it is exciting. Now, you might say, I don't come to SuiteConnect only to learn about LLMs, because these are capabilities that my employees also know. Is there something greater and better? I think you should not leave this summit without learning more about AI agents. So let us talk about AI agents. Now, a lot of the customers ask me, exactly what is AI agents? Is it like text agents that can file my text? Or is it like a travel agent that can book flight ticket and hotel for me? You are right. AI agent can do all that human agent can do, but much more. Now, you have to understand this. If you some of you might be sent by your company, and you have to have some takeaway, bring back to your company team, making sure that they know you don't just come here to the lounge and enjoy the food, then you might want to take a picture of this. The reason is because this is super important when you go back to your company and derive an AI agent strategy for your company. The reason is because these 4 attributes represented here are basically the way that you can compare and contrast the strength and the return of investment of the AI strategy that you are deriving for your company. The first one is very obvious, natural language. An AI agent must be able to understand natural language, like the language you and I speak. And also it is able to communicate with human, but also with other agents, AI agents, using natural language. That is very, very important. Secondly, also very important is, up to this point, what LLM or generative AI can do are basically very passive activity. What does it mean? That means in order to take advantage of generative AI, you have to go to generative AI, such as ChatGPT or any of the models out there. You have to go to the model and you have to prompt it. You have to say, I want you to do this for me. And then it will give you an answer, give you a response. AI agent would unlock very high return on investment because of the fact that AI agent by default can carry out action for you. Not only that it carry out action, but it carry out action for you in a proactive way, meaning that you don't go to AI, AI come to you. And that is the AI agent characteristics. Very interesting. The third area that is also very important is that if AI agent actually carry out action for you, it is going to do something for you, just like your employee. If it can do that, then it is very, very important. It must have domain depth. What I mean by that is AI agent cannot just be a general purpose AI agent. Now, you need general purpose AI agent to begin with, but you must have the capability, the agent must have the capability that is very easy to configure in such a way that it understands the underlying business data, the business workflow, and as a result, it can perform something way more meaningful for you. So as a finance agent, for example, it would be able to actually process your invoices. How would it be able to process your invoices if it doesn't understand the historical data of your company? So it has to understand your company's business, your company's workflow. Right? So that is the third very important element. The fourth attribute that is very important is that AI agent must be super intelligent. It is adaptive. Now today, already, in the past 25 years, NetSuite already automate your business workflow. However, workflow is wonderful until it doesn't work. And 60% of the time, according to study, workflow actually break down. And the reason it breaks down is because in real-world ambiguity, the workflow just doesn't know how to handle that exception. Or in a situation your company has evolving priorities, the workflow doesn't understand how to handle that situation. AI agent has the intelligence to be able to sort through some of these ambiguities and know what to do. It knows when to loop in the human, not by programming, but by using the natural communication channel. Maybe it's through Slack, through SMS, or through other means that you can participate in the decision-making to make the judgment call. And so those four areas are the critical areas when you are deriving your AI agent strategy. You have to evaluate how deep, how much of these four attributes am I embracing in buying certain AI agent strategy. And the deeper you get, the more value you are going to unearth. The best way I think I can share this with you is to share with you 3 AI agent capability that is built into the NetSuite product. And based on these 3 agents, sky is the limit. Partners, you can basically take this agent and expand the capability for your customers. And some of the more sophisticated customers, you can basically take this and expand it in your company. The first one I want to talk about is called financial exception management. Everybody in finance understands that exception management is the key in managing finance. Financial exception management is basically marrying traditional machine learning capability, meaning that traditional machine learning capability is basically doing machine learning models, maybe it's some regression model, maybe it is classification model, various models that study the pattern of your data and try to understand what are the anomalies, outliers in your financial. Now, if you think about that, you might feel, outlier, I understand. We actually use spreadsheet to find our outliers. Am I right? So you find anomaly, you said in my company, the invoices are always between, looking at the past spreadsheet, are always between $500 to $5,000. Suddenly I saw an invoice that is $5, or I saw an invoice that is $50,000. So that's outlier. I don't need AI. My man can eyeball it. Well, if you are only dealing with one dimension, of course, you can eyeball it. But the amount of the invoice might make sense depending on what customer you are dealing with that invoice, or what product you are dealing with, what month you are dealing with, what region you are dealing with. Am I right? So it's not that simple. So the financial exception management function in NetSuite deal with 15 to 18 different dimensions of an anomaly. So it is beyond a human mind. Beyond the human mind. You cannot keep track of 18 changes correlated to one another. And so we build financial exception management to deal with all kinds of exceptions in your financials. And we put generative AI on top of it. Let's take a look and see how this capability utilize some of these 4 attributes that I talked about in my last slide.
The Financial Exception Management Dashboard presents all the potential exceptions at a glance. The tiles at the top summarize how many exceptions are pending resolution and their potential impact. The first one that NetSuite found is related to an incorrect account being selected on the vendor bill. I can see that the system has recognized that usually bills from this vendor go to the office expense account, and it's giving me the option to take care of that anomaly right there. I can also collaborate and communicate with my team about this exception if I need to. On this next exception, it's determined that there's a transaction missing. Usually, there's a bill from this vendor at the beginning of each period. Another exception reflects an unusual time of entry. That's not normal, and it's flagging that. Finally, I can see that it has detected a duplicate transaction. I can look at the bill that's been scanned from bill capture, compare the two, and make a decision about what to do about that exception. Once that's done, we're on our way to a faster financial close.
So you can see that it has the attribute of being very active because it can actually resolve the anomaly for you based on your authorization. Also, it is very proactive because it is 24/7 watching the entire financial environment for your company. Whenever there is a potential fraud or a potential mistake coming into the book, it captures it and alerts you. Finally, also, of course, it is very deep in your business because it actually understands the pattern of your business. The second example I want to share with you is called NetSuite Expert. You guessed right. Basically, this feature is working against or complement one of the weaknesses in LLM. LLM is a pre-trained model. So by the time whether it is Cohere or Meta, Llama, release the model to us that we put into the product, that model is already trained. That would mean that if you have newer documentations in your company about your product, that LLM would not understand it. And sometimes it will make up ideas for you because it wants to give you an answer, and that is called hallucination. Now, expert, yeah, it's interesting. It's called hallucination. So NetSuite Expert, it's actually the AI technology that complement that weakness of LLM and enable us to put real-time data into the vector database in such a way that LLM can answer your question, even if the new feature of NetSuite just released last week it can answer your question. So let us take a look at this feature.
Let's see how NetSuite Expert levels up the search experience in the Suite Answers knowledge base. Let's say I'm an accountant who needs to know more about reversing a journal entry. I type my question into the search field in conversational language. How can I reverse a journal entry? I hit enter and get an AI-generated answer in natural language. I can click Show More to see the full AI-generated answer right above the classic search results. The answer is compiled based on knowledge articles in the NetSuite knowledge base. This helps me get the answer I'm looking for faster and boosts my productivity. If I'm interested in learning more, I can use these citations to open the original source articles. All the sources are listed right below the AI-generated answer. I can also give NetSuite Expert feedback with a thumbs up or thumbs down. My feedback will be used to improve the quality and accuracy of NetSuite Expert's answers.
Can you imagine this kind of feature? I was talking to a man before the summit who is responsible for the social services in Singapore. Can you imagine when you are dealing with that kind of environment, that you can do documentations and helpful information for your constituents, that they can do correct and real-time detailed information for them to understand how to use the service? Can you imagine what you can accomplish? And that feature, basically natural language, basically handle adaptive environment, because even if it is all kinds of change, it can handle it. And so it is a very helpful agent for our customer, regardless of what business you are doing. Finally, I want to show you one more example that uses all 4 attributes of an AI agent, and that is in our Suite Analytics product. Take a look at this. It's amazing.
Suite Analytics Assistant is an interface that allows me to search for and edit charts effortlessly. Instead of scrolling through workbook options, I can now ask questions in a way that feels natural, just like I'd ask a colleague in conversational language. Here, I want to understand the sources of my revenue. I asked, "Show me revenue," and hit enter, and the assistant showed me these relevant workbooks. I'll go to the Suite Success Billing and Revenue Summary workbook. In the workbook, I'll ask Suite Analytics to slice and dice and present me data in different ways to get the insights I'm looking for. I can even ask a somewhat complex query. I'll ask the AI to show me the total amount by customer per year. The assistant recognizes that this requires a new chart, then creates a chart and shows me exactly what I want to see. Now, I'll ask the assistant to filter for specific years. And again, the assistant updates the chart with a filter showing the years that I asked for. I can continue to do analysis, or I might ask to add this chart to my dashboard. This will tell the assistant to create a portlet, which makes the chart available in the dashboard on my homepage. With no additional effort from me, the dashboard portlet has now been created. Let's go take a look. Here on my homepage, I see that the assistant has added the chart as I requested.
So you can see that with this feature, the human and AI actually collaborated inside the application to do the analysis together by using natural language. And it's very deep into the business, identifying what workbook, what data set to use. Now, whenever you create newer data sets or newer workbook or deleted any of them, AI actually understands it and therefore would be able to adapt to that change. Now, to close, I can talk all day long, so I have to close. So to close, I just want to remind you, in NetSuite, as you partner with NetSuite, you are not alone. You are not just partnering with, like Amit said, the first cloud SaaS application company. That is already great, wonderful. But you are actually partnering with one of the technology leaders in the world. As we speak, Oracle is building perhaps one of the world's largest AI data center in the world. Why? Why do we do that? It's because we want to take your AI workload and be able to run that no matter how great you scale your business. It doesn't matter if you scale it in the United States, in EMEA, in Singapore, in Japan, we will support you. That is one of the reasons. Secondly, we have all kinds of partners. Oracle is a very, very strong partner with NVIDIA. So because of that, we are accumulating many GPUs for you. The A100, H100, and the new B200 that just came out last month. So we are accumulating many of these GPUs for you to scale up your business. Not only that, in terms of infrastructure, we have these great partners, but also we partner with all LLM company. Now today in using NetSuite software, you are already using the Cohere model, which is like many other LLM, but it's focused for enterprises. It's not for mom and pop asking funny questions, not that kind of LLM. It's really doing business. That is the Cohere model. You can already use the Llama model. For example, if you're dealing with images, Llama model is stronger. If you're dealing with coding agent, Llama is stronger, even better than some of the other models. And OCI, our partner in Oracle, is constantly negotiating, evaluating newer LLM that might support newer use cases that you have in your business. Not only that, the database group is our partner. Earlier in my demo, I already showed you some of the actual workflow as well as AI activities that we perform are down in the database level. What it means is when you are running your inference in AI, your data never leave the Oracle NetSuite data center. What that means would be you get security, you get better performance, and it can scale better with autonomous database. Final but not least, very, very important, the ecosystem of Oracle NetSuite is not just about all this technology partner. The reason we are so great and how customers all around the world, 41,000 customers, am I right, love the product is because of the couple thousands of partners, system integrator, solution partners that work with us hand in hand around the globe. And many of you are sitting here. And thank you for doing your part to strengthen the AI offering in Oracle NetSuite. With that, I want to congratulate you, but I also want to wish you a very fruitful time in SuiteConnect. Now, today you would meet some of the speakers in the breakout sessions, and when you are in the lounge, you will see some of our colleagues. Feel free to ask them, how can AI, how can NetSuite make my business even stronger, do more with less? And I hope that you will come back at 3:45. I will do a deeper dive into some of the AI technology with you. Now with that, Gary, I want to give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edward. As I said earlier, our job is to deliver constant innovation to help you get more from the suite in every area of your organization. Through our partnership with other teams at Oracle, we're able to deliver powerful, enterprise-grade solutions, once available only to the largest organizations in the world, to your business at a scale and price that work for you. And these solutions are being enhanced with more and more AI at no additional cost to you. Let's walk through some recent highlights. Earlier, I mentioned the essential truth that the role of finance continues to grow in importance and scope across the business. I also mentioned the ongoing challenge of silos and disconnected processes, which inhibit the finance team's ability to make informed decisions that take the entire business into account. Overcoming those challenges requires connecting more parts of your organization. We believe an operating system for your entire business that includes Enterprise Performance Management, or EPM. NetSuite EPM is a family of products that enhances planning, simplifies account reconciliation and the financial close, and powers advanced reporting by consolidating data from every department across your business. This is built on the foundation of Oracle's Fusion Cloud EPM solution, which was named a leader in the 2024 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Financial Planning Software. Our Oracle partnership is also powering new AI functionality here. For example, EPM now has features including Gen AI and narrative reporting, which helps you create reports that explain the story behind your numbers. Gen AI in intelligent performance management to help you summarize the key drivers behind your forecasts. And predictive forecast explanations, which help you understand exactly how AI models in NetSuite planning and budgeting arrive at their predictions. NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is another great example of how we're breaking down those data silos and removing limitations. Powered by the Oracle Analytics Cloud and the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse centralizes all your data from across the suite and beyond, so every department can harness it to reveal insights. NSAW also serves up some pretty amazing AI features too. Recent enhancements here include new out-of-the-box AI models where the system guides you in choosing the best AI model for the question you're trying to answer. The Oracle Analytics AI Assistant, an agent which can help you design charts with the power of Gen AI. And the Explain feature, which automatically highlights key drivers and anomalies within your data sets. And today, we're announcing a new connector to pull even more data into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. The new NetSuite Analytics Warehouse multi-instance connector consolidates data from multiple instances of NetSuite into a single Analytics Warehouse environment. This makes it especially easy for private equity firms and similar companies to lower costs and make smarter decisions to pursue their top opportunities. Across NetSuite, your user experience is also getting a boost from our collaboration with other teams at Oracle. We're incorporating Oracle's Redwood design system, a beautiful, award-winning look and feel that makes NetSuite even easier and more intuitive to use than ever before. Redwood is now available for you to turn on in your NetSuite instance, and you'll see it in more and more places throughout the suite over time. A great example is our Customer 360 dashboard. You can see that the Redwood design delivers an ultra-clear snapshot of everything you need to know about your customers, critical information from across the suite, all in one place. Every one of your teams can use this to better do their jobs and serve your customers. For example, your sales team can use this to decide when to approach customers about upsells, which products to pitch, and more, all in a beautiful dashboard that's natural to navigate. So those are just a few ways that NetSuite customers are benefiting from Oracle innovations. And one of the best parts of this Oracle advantage is that you don't need to implement incompatible technology to tap into it. We're delivering these solutions pre-built to work with NetSuite, with regular updates to make sure you're always using cutting-edge technology. And along with those regular updates, we're continually introducing new ways to help you unlock more value from the suite, helping you get the most from your technology investment through learning resources, customized support, and industry-specific pathways to smoothly scale your technology use. For example, our specialized Suite Success editions of NetSuite are tailored to individual industries and how they operate here in Singapore and the broader region. From our experience with tens of thousands of NetSuite deployments worldwide, we've learned how customers in every industry maximize growth, which modules they need to get up and running quickly, and which modules they need to add over time to maximize ROI as they expand. We've packaged those insights into a framework we call Suite Success, which includes pathways for advancing your NetSuite implementation based on your industry. Regardless of your original implementation, all of you can use these stairways, as we call them, to propel your business forward. Suite Success editions currently available in Singapore include starter editions for both products and services companies, a more robust services edition with more functionality, and our Financials First edition to get you conquering financials basics quickly. And today, we're announcing that the Suite Success Social Impact Edition is coming to Singapore and the Philippines. Nonprofit organizations face a unique set of challenges. They have to secure funding, navigate legal and compliance requirements, and track their impact, all while working to further their mission. And too often, outdated and disconnected technology systems limit that. With the Suite Success Social Impact Edition, you have everything you need to manage your nonprofit in one system, boosting collaboration and productivity. You can see here how you might use this new edition of the suite and the phased stairway implementation approach to start with your core financials and other essential functions. And then over time, you'll add on functionality to handle things like cash forecasting and outcomes measurement. And as you move up the stairway, our Advanced Customer Support, or ACS team, is always here to give you hands-on guidance. This team goes way beyond standard support, helping you optimize your use of the suite with configurations specific to your operations. It's always rewarding to hear how our customers are working with ACS to automate processes across the business. And you can see here how 2 of your peer companies are using ACS to get tangible ROI. Now, one more way that top-performing customers unlock more value from the suite is with Learning Cloud Support, or LCS. LCS starts with something called NetSuite Guided Learning, which embeds step-by-step guidance right in NetSuite, showing each user how to execute their everyday tasks more quickly and effectively right in context of the work they're doing. Guided Learning is available in 24 languages to all 41,000 plus NetSuite customers at no additional cost. And then you can go beyond guided learning into the MyLearn Learning Center, accessing interactive webinars, courses, and lab exercises so your team can sharpen their NetSuite skills. There are 2 ways to access this training platform. The LCS Explorer Pass, a free pass that gives you access to introductory learning content, or the LCS Company Pass, which gives you full access to more than 1,000 hours of on-demand courses, live workshops, and more. Businesses tell us that LCS helps them onboard and develop employees, saving hours of staff-led training so they can boost productivity and get the most out of NetSuite quickly. As Amit mentioned, unlocking value from the suite also involves an incredible partner community here in Singapore and Southeast Asia. From the very beginning, we designed NetSuite to be a flexible, extendable system for our customers and partners to build upon, because we know that as you scale your business, your technology foundation needs to deliver even more complex and specific functionality. And so we have a whole ecosystem of partners who extend the power of the suite. There are more than 600 partners in our local Suite Cloud developer network who have created more than 800 suite apps for specific business functions and industries. One of those partners is Celigo. To learn more about their work among top-performing businesses, I'm going to turn it back over to Amit for a discussion with George Polizos, Celigo's VP of APAC.
Thank you. And welcome, George. Lovely to have you here.
Great being here, and I really feel energized after hearing all that about AI and everything that's happening in the next
some
few
exciting
weeks.
stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe you could start off by just letting everyone know, give us a quick overview of how Celigo partners with NetSuite customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So Celigo is NetSuite's largest integration partner. We work with over 5,000 NetSuite customers today globally, and essentially we help integrate and automate business processes across various different applications customers may have. So this can include things like Salesforce, Shopify, 3PLs, warehouse management systems, and so on. So essentially, Celigo solves a data problem.
Awesome. Okay. So you help customers integrate and solve data problems, right? So integrating with different companies, which you mentioned. So how does that support NetSuite customers and help them unlock value across departments? Like, what does this integration do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about NetSuite, NetSuite becomes a single source of truth for financial, customer, or inventory data. And a lot of departments need to access that data, but also contribute back to NetSuite. So a lot of the times in the current world, a lot of the customers do this in terms of manual processing, or it could be one-time scripts or whatever that may be. Now that leads to a lot of errors, and it's not really scalable. So Celigo can provide a very simple to use, easy platform that a semi-technical person can come in and create some business automation to help automate those manual processes. And really thinking about AI and the application of AI today, if you're thinking about how AI can help your internal businesses, the quality of that data is very important if we're going to think about how we're going to leverage that. So, we really help remove a lot of that risk and provide a lot more automation across the organization.
Awesome. Yeah. No, absolutely. So this one source of data really is key to getting the most out of AI, right? So that's really awesome. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shift in direction. So Singapore is one of the most globalized markets in the world. Really. So how is Celigo helping customers get into like regional expansion or global expansion?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've been working this market for a very long time. And it's just a fact now that Southeast Asia is the fastest growing e-commerce community in the world. We're seeing the growth here like we've never seen it before. And we're seeing a lot more local organizations looking at doing a lot more cross-border transactions, maybe based in Singapore, but looking to sell in the US, EMEA, Australia, and whatnot. So Celigo is working with a lot of local organizations, for example, managing their global Shopify stores. We're doing this with multiple customers and, even locally in Malaysia customer. With Mothercare, we've recently started working with it, consolidating all of their Shopify so we can support within that growth. So from our perspective, we can help manage how they look to transact cross-border. But also, if you think about larger enterprises, we're working with a lot of logistics and manufacturers who things like uptime and security is very important. Our platform provides that on a global reach.
Wow, really? So you're doing exciting stuff
a lot
in this region. So what next for Celigo in this region then?
There's a lot going on. Specifically for this region, there's probably two key things that I'd like to highlight. So number one, I know when I first started working with Celigo and the NetSuite team here locally, the first request was, hey, a lot of our customers want to use NetSuite for inventory, but sell on marketplaces like Shopee and Lazada. So the first thing that we have done is actually work with our product team and built NetSuite connectors for those local marketplaces specifically for the customers here. So now you can leverage Celigo for those NetSuite to Shopee or NetSuite and Lazada connectors. So that's number one from a product point of view. And I guess number two, we're going to be investing in the region in terms of people. So, I'm currently looking to grow the team. So if anyone knows any good salespeople out there, please let me know and stop past the booth. But look, you're going to see a lot more of Celigo in the region. We're happy to be associated with NetSuite. We've got some great partners that we're already working with. So the future is very, very bright.
Awesome. We really look forward to actually working with you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the customers here would like to catch up with you at the SuiteConnect Lounge to kind of look at all the interesting things you talked about, right? This data, this integration across different solutions and how that's helping them take more advantage of AI. Absolutely. As well as the connectors which you mentioned, how they can actually expand regionally.
Yep.
So it's just some exciting stuff they can talk to you about.
Please, they can talk to us about anything except for hair care products from myself. But so I look forward to seeing everyone at the Celigo Lounge. We're going to have some great conversations and see how we can look to help relieve some pressure and some pain from the businesses.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much.
Amit, pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And I'm going to hand over back to Jared now.
Thank you.
Now, as we've said, if these technologies are going to truly unlock benefits like visibility, control, and productivity across your whole business, they have to touch all of your functional areas, not only finance. Your organization is divided into departments, but it should never be divided into silos. You want your business to operate in a unified way, where every function is connected and talking to the others. To achieve that, your business operating system needs to work the same way. We call this sweetness. Sweetness describes the way all the elements of NetSuite work together. When all of your data and processes and teams are unified in a single system, the benefits of that system compound and your potential to unlock value grows. You get more insight by analyzing all of your data together instead of having it fragmented in point solutions. You get more productivity because the suite automates and streamlines workflows from beginning to end across departments and functions. And your teams can truly collaborate because they're working in the same system, not arguing about whose system has the right data. And that means you can achieve more in each department and across the business as a whole. Let's take a look at how you can start using this sweetness to unlock more value across the functional areas of your business, starting with operations. Operations are the heart of your business, directly impacting the effectiveness of all other functions. So unlocking value in operations has a ripple effect across the business. That's especially true as hybrid business models have become more common. The world has shifted towards these models where companies sell products and services and even subscriptions. If you break apart the hybrid business model, there are many operational areas where you can unlock value. Project-related processes in particular can be challenging if you work in silos, due to the complexities around areas like resource management, time tracking, and profitability reporting. At SuiteWorld, we announced Suite Projects Pro as the next generation of our NetSuite OpenAir PSA solution. You can use Suite Projects Pro to connect and simplify the entire project lifecycle. For example, from the Suite Projects Pro homepage in that clean new Redwood theme, I see that our AI-powered Project Health Meter is flagging a project that needs attention based on key metrics from similar past projects. I can click into the Project Health Check, which gives me more details about the problem and suggests ways to get the project back on track. Our NetSuite customer success organization uses Suite Projects Pro to staff consultants on over 15,000 projects every year, and we get better visibility into hiring, locations, skill sets, and availability in the process. And we've seen so many other businesses use Suite Projects Pro to rev up productivity too. For example, ZRG Partners, a talent advisory firm, implemented Suite Projects Pro in one of its main divisions, consolidating 120 project plans into one system. Project managers now have easy access to all of these plans, and the firm's controller can now run and distribute time reports in 1/3 of the time that it took before. In addition to project-based businesses, many companies across industries also deliver field services. And for them, it's especially important that their field operations team has a seamless connection to the back office. However, it's common for technicians to work in the field with no connection except phone calls and texts. They waste time writing down what services they performed and then entering them at the end of the day or maybe the end of the week or worse, later. They have to revisit customers because they didn't get real-time updates into the services required or the inventory needed. Meanwhile, their managers are back at the office dealing with the difficulties of manual scheduling. Today, we're announcing NetSuite Field Service Management in Singapore and the Philippines to automate all of that and more. You can create service orders from NetSuite cases, sales orders, or projects, schedule jobs to technicians, and give technicians all the information they need on a mobile app. Businesses are already using NetSuite Field Service Management to remove limits throughout their operations. Headland Technology, a machinery manufacturer in Australia, uses Field Service Management's centralized inventory management to increase first-time fix rates and reduce inventory leakage and write-offs for a 98% drop in lost inventory. 98%. That's amazing. And Van Roy Machinery creates checklists in the mobile app to enforce best practices and prompt technicians on details they could easily overlook. And we continue to improve field service management. The latest release lets technicians upload documents and photos from their phones in bulk for more productivity and automatically create time bills to tighten financial control. For any business that offers recurring services, managing subscriptions and renewals is critical and really difficult. But when you have everything in one system, all of this becomes much easier. NetSuite Suite Billing automates management and billing of those recurring subscriptions, instantly calculating charges based on all types of plans, creating and distributing invoices for you, automating renewals, and more. And we've recently made some great updates to it. You can now use Suite Billing to invoice and allocate subscription revenue before activating a service for your customer. You now have the ability to link inventory items to subscription items. So if you're selling a product and a service, say an internet modem along with a Wi-Fi service, you only have to place one order and generate one invoice. Businesses with consumption-based pricing can use prepay to charge customers in advance and boost your cash flow and then draw down the balance over time. And all of this is designed to help your operations team deliver products and services more efficiently, no matter how your business model evolves. Now, getting technology to work for your business model means getting as many teams as possible to run their processes in the same system. User licenses can be a limitation here because businesses are sometimes forced to choose between giving users full access to systems with more features than they need or no access at all. To answer that, we're announcing new specialized user roles in Southeast Asia. These lower-priced licenses are for users who only need to see and use specific records, reports, and features. And the first is for NetSuite Warehouse Management System, or WMS. For instance, let's say you have a warehouse employee who only needs NetSuite access for tasks like receiving, put away, picking, and shipping. With this new user role, this employee can access what they need, but you aren't stuck paying for functionality they don't use. We've been rolling out the WMS specialized user role region by region for some time now, and businesses have been using it to boost productivity while saving costs. Like Bill from Packer Fastener, who says the company saves around 17% per employee in licensing fees while still giving warehouse personnel all the NetSuite access they need. And this licensing model is just another way we're making sure you have the functionality you need to operate with no limits. When more areas of your business are united in a single system, your ability to unlock value grows. And one especially important connection is between operations and sales. Your operations team could be using technology to achieve peak performance, but if sales isn't doing the same, then you're really not getting the full value and potential of those investments. Let's look at a few of the new opportunities to empower your sales team. The first is our specialized user role for NetSuite CRM, which is now available. Just like the WMS role, this user type comes with a lower cost and access to only the CRM functionality that certain sales team members need. For instance, let's say a sales rep needs NetSuite access to monitor the sales pipeline. They can use this flexible license to check the status of leads, opportunities, and sales performance, getting the information they need cost effectively. Now, we know there are some parts of your business ecosystem that require tight integration with NetSuite, so we're continually adding to our portfolio of NetSuite connectors, which automate data sharing between NetSuite and the rest of your environment. We recently announced the NetSuite connector for Outlook. This connector automatically syncs Outlook and NetSuite CRM, updating your CRM contacts, customers, and opportunity records with any messages you've sent or events you've created in Outlook. Your sales team can use this tool to both save time and make more informed decisions. And eliminating those data silos also speeds processes for other types of users too. Now, when it comes to securing those sales, productivity and agility are paramount. If you have complex combinations of products and services, it's not enough to be able to easily bill for them with Suite Billing. It's just as important to be able to quickly and easily configure them for prospects and customers, no matter how many options there are. To address that, we're announcing NetSuite CPQ in Singapore and the Philippines. Sales teams can quickly configure, price, and quote complex products and services with complete accuracy and reliability right in NetSuite. For instance, a door manufacturer can set up NetSuite CPQ to present several configuration options like door dimensions, models, and material types. Sales teams or even the customers themselves can easily select the features they want. And because you can apply customizable business rules, you can be sure every configuration is correct, saving money on double and triple checks and reworks. Once the configuration is approved, NetSuite automatically creates a bill of materials and routing instructions with the correct materials and steps to complete the work order. Plus, NetSuite CPQ integrates with Suite Billing, so you can include subscription items in the configuration process. Those are two great examples of sweetness. And of course, beyond sales and operations, we continue to deliver innovations that unlock value for your finance team, especially as they continue to grow in their influence across the business. As businesses become more complex and data-driven, finance teams are expected to act as strategic advisors rather than just financial gatekeepers. However, in order to effectively make that transition, finance needs to enhance productivity while simultaneously driving both control and insight, factors that don't always go hand in hand. Let's explore some of the ways we're delivering all three of those benefits for the finance team. Teams are rapidly adopting NetSuite e-invoicing to address e-invoicing regulations that are quickly expanding worldwide. They use the solution to send and receive invoices in the proper formats for e-invoice exchange networks and platforms of various tax authorities. These e-invoicing regulations vary and are continuously emerging. To help you keep pace, we're releasing the new Builder feature in NetSuite e-invoicing. Builder provides tools like scripts, custom data sources, and step-by-step guidance, as well as support so that you can customize how you send and receive transaction data in NetSuite. In addition to compliance, automated invoicing also helps finance teams boost productivity and control and get better insight into cash flow. And beyond those features, we're making enhancements that will benefit finance teams operating in APAC specifically. For Singapore, we have the NetSuite Singapore PEPL Ready Suite app. This tool will soon support C5 tax reporting, helping to automate GST tax return preparation based on transactions made through PEPL. In the future, NetSuite will support the PEPL International Invoice format, and our NetSuite Singapore localization will allow you to file your F5 GST returns directly from NetSuite, no manual data entry or extra steps. In the Philippines, we've started rolling out updates to help you comply with the government's Ease of Paying Taxes initiative. These simplify withholding tax calculations and reporting, including switching to an accrual basis for tax liabilities. We're also rolling out changes to BIR reports, invoice formats, and regulatory reporting for easier BIR compliance and tax reporting. And in Malaysia, customers can meet mandatory e-invoicing registration requirements through NetSuite's automated invoice registration and delivery, making the billing process faster and more efficient. With each localization, finance teams get a system that takes their local regulations into account so they can continue to drive peak productivity and control. Now, in Singapore specifically, there are many valuable grant opportunities to take advantage of, as Amit mentioned earlier. However, grant recipients know getting the grant is just the start. Managing it comes with its own unique set of challenges, like juggling multiple funding sources, compliance requirements, and reporting obligations. We have a way to make that easier. With our new Grant Management Suite app, you can add grant management functionality, including grant management segments, records, KPIs, and reporting to any of the Suite Success editions we mentioned earlier. For companies that receive funding from commercial or federal sources, this tool gives your finance team the visibility and control you need to comply with funder requirements and amplify the grant's impact. We've covered a lot of ways to unlock value today, and we want you to be able to easily tap into them. It wouldn't be SuiteConnect without some deals. Red hot, ultra crazy, screaming deals are what we do here in Singapore. These ultra hot discounts are available only to SuiteConnect attendees to help you unlock value in absolutely every corner of the suite. Today we're offering 55% off your NetSuite ERP implementation. That's crazy. 60% off the LCS Company Pass, 35% off ACS subscriptions. Again, these are loco. These deals are only valid when you purchase by May 30th. So go chase down your account manager right now. Actually, wait till the keynote's over. But right then, chase down your account manager and take advantage of these crazy deals. All right. Today, we've shown you many different solutions that we have in the suite to help you unlock value within and across functional areas of your business. In point of fact, we get these ideas from partnering with you to find new ways to power your success. To illustrate that, I'd like to invite my colleague, Charles Heng, to the stage along with leaders from 3 incredible organizations whose brands you just might recognize. Please join me in welcoming Charles along with Oceanus Group, DVI Solutions, and Minds.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining me today. And again, a warm welcome to our inaugural SuiteConnect Singapore. Let's start with a round of introductions. Can each of you share a little bit about yourself, your role, and your company? Maybe we can start with Dwayne.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Very glad to be here. My name is Dwayne. I'm the Group CFO of Oceanus Group. So a quick introduction. Oceanus Group, we are a Singapore-based main board-listed company. We deal in food. Brief history, we started in 2008, building one of the world's largest land-based aquaculture farms in China. And fast forward to 2015, came on board a new management to sort of revive, restructure. And in the years since, we've seen rapid growth, right? In a span of 5 years, we went from 3 million to 300 million in turnover. We now have presence across 30 subsidiaries in 13 markets. And we now have 4 key pillars in our business surrounding food. Food production, distribution, services, and last but not least, innovation. We're quite excited about the innovation segment because that's really pushing the envelope. And that really encompasses the launch of Odin, Oceanus Digital Intelligence Network. And that's really a platform that we provide to the market, to global traders. And that's really to assist our vision in pushing the agenda of food security, right? And ensuring that we can trade with food without borders.
Thank you, Dwayne. Over to you, Tanish.
Yep, so my name is Tanish. I'm from DVI Solutions. I operate as the general manager there. So some context about us is we've been around 23 years. We're a homegrown business. And we specialize basically as a workplace digital provider. So if you imagine Zoom, Teams, any conference room, if you have seen those booking banners outside, those video bars, that's the solution we provide, end-to-end, from consultancy to implementation. We recently adopted a new model, which is SaaS. So we started selling workplace digital software. It's called Athena Analytics. It's an in-house product, specializing in analyzing your workspace, from how much you use your meeting rooms, your hot desks, overall the space, and the employee engagement in your space. And recently, we just doubled our size and added Japan. So we're about 10 countries now.
That's right. Exciting. And last but not least, Kelvin.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks again to NetSuite Oracle for having me here. I'm Kelvin, Chief Executive Officer. Sometimes they call me the Chief Everything Officer. Literally everything. MICE actually stands for Movement for the Intellectual Disabled of Singapore. We are not-for-profit. In Singapore's context, we call ourselves a social service agency. We have about 1,100 on staff, with 30 service points across the islands, both structures as well as mobile services. And we serve in excess of 9,000 persons with intellectual disability and their caregivers. And our mission really is to advance their well-being and their development so that they can live as long as possible, as independently as possible in Singapore. And so our other mission is to advocate for their integration into Singapore's community as well. And we see that it's very closely tied to being tech-driven and data-informed. And in order for us, and I think Gary kind of alluded to that in his speech as well, where operations tie in very closely, even for the non-profit side of the house, and that's where data better inform us in how can we do this even better.
Thank you, Kelvin. Let's start with Dwayne. Since its founding, Oceanus has evolved, from a single product company to handling a wide range of activities from production to logistics and distribution. What were some of the growing pains in this progression, and how do you manage these interconnected processes so efficiently now?
Yeah, well, Charles, as I mentioned, we grew fast, right? And growing pains were many. One of the areas that I guess is worth raising, for example, is inventory, right? Because as we were growing, as I mentioned, we grew very quickly over a span of 5 to 6 years, and our goods started to be populated across different parts of the world, across new locations. And very soon after that, we started to see that we were losing visibility in our goods, right? The margin of errors were rising, and that was something that you should not struggle as a global food trader. In fact, back then when we checked, we found that we had inventory accuracy of somewhere around 80%, which means there's still a dismal 20% out there, which you're not too sure about the status and conditions, right? So that was one of the key pain points that we targeted when we brought on board, NetSuite, right? Particularly its inventory module. And that was very helpful because the key thing, and I think you mentioned interconnectivity, that's important, right? You've heard the term single source of truth, and that was really helpful because now you have the same set of data, be it whether finance or supply chain, they're looking at the same metrics. And that was very helpful in terms of cleaning it up, right, to ensuring that we're up to date, that everyone looks at the same real-time data. So the results for that were very tangible. They're very measurable as well because from the 80%, we are now close to 100. Right, and that's a great result that we're very happy with.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Tanish, your business handles both hardware inventory as well as service delivery. How are you using NetSuite to help you manage this hybrid business model?
Yep, so essentially exactly as you're right, we do full end-to-end from project delivery, procurement, distribution, and even servicing. So the unique thing or the USP for DVI has always been that since we operate in 10 countries around APAC, we provide a unified experience for our clients. So the same standard in Singapore applies all over APAC. Now, because of that, you have 7 departments working on a single project, from procurement, your projects, your sales, your service, and you duplicate this across 10 countries, each with their own localization requirements. So what occurred was, 3 years ago, before we got NetSuite, I still remember I walked into a room and I found carbon copy papers. I didn't even know they still exist. So one piece, things like you sign once, you get 4 pieces. Amazing. And you have record rooms full of it. So if you were to ask a question to a sales team or the sales ops, hey, do you have, this customer's information? They will have to make phone calls everywhere and take a week to find out. So what occurred is naturally your customer's experience declines. You lose data, you lose that tracking, and your churn rate goes up. So what we did was, when we got NetSuite, the overall goal was it has to be a single source of truth. It has to be compliant, not to only the federal standards that we have, but to our own internal processes. And the goal was a single client would have a unified experience at every point in time. Whatever they bought, whatever they see, however we delivered the project even, down to how long it took, was all recorded so that we ensured that they all kept in line with our standards.
Fantastic. Thanks. And Kelvin, Minds operates a large number of varying services across numerous centers in Singapore. How has Minds centralized operations across all of these locations and programs that you run?
Thanks, Charles. I think when we started looking at how we could be more data-informed and tech-driven, we started asking ourselves, how do we bring operations together, like what your question asked, centralize them, right? And we realized that there were 3 hows that we needed to answer ourselves internally so that operations can be synergized, aligned, as well as centralized, if you would. And the 3 hows were exactly like how to improve our resource management, because we had over 30 services, points, programs, etc., and they were running on their own kind of thing. But how do we synchronize this and how do we improve the resource management across? That was one question. Second is that as a social service agency, we are a grant recipient, we are a fund recipient as well. It was important to, how do we improve governance so that we can improve trust? And the last one was at the heart of it all is how do we improve services to the persons with intellectual community that we are talking about. Very much like what Gary in his virtual briefing to us is that really operations and the client value could bring about. And this was where then we decided that we need to establish, like again, Dwayne talked about that single source of truth that will bring us to synergize all this data together to better help us inform where the resource allocation was and where the gaps were, so that we can then move these resources to places where emerging needs came about. I think at the heart of what we're going to do is that how do we bring services to where populations of the community it is still not receiving service. We have this 30 touch points across the island, but it is very siloed. But with data and what NetSuite is able to tell us in the full complete picture, we were then able to then move these resources to where it matters most. The second other part is in the centralization of the operations, the improvement in governance with the single source of truth through more seamless flow of client data to billing all the way down to the invoicing, help us to raise that level of confidence as well with our fund givers, grant makers as well, and also to caregivers. Because now caregivers was able to see in one single e-invoicing what they were receiving in terms of value of money as well. So I think it's not just a single thing that helped us to centralize operation, but it's a combination of things. Clients' confidence, fund makers' confidence as well, trust. And also the value of able to bring limited resources to bear on areas that is underserved at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. Dwayne, with more than 30 subsidiaries across multiple, Asian markets, staying up to date with local regulations must be a challenge, right? How do you stay compliant with local regulations while still unlocking productivity, especially in the finance department?
Well, I'll be brutally honest and say that, it's only in recent memory that we were absolutely not in compliance with a lot of things. What do I mean by that? Give you an example. Before new management came on board, there were 7 years of consecutive disclaimer of opinions by the auditors, right? There were 4 years of unfiled annual returns and tax returns. 2 years of outstanding independent audit work, and mounting penalties across multiple entities, right? And some of you may be in finance, and it sounds like a horror show, and trust me, it was. So the question therefore arises, right? Where do you even begin to tow along 30 companies to a level that is at least basically compliant or up to date, right? And the answer to that, really, we found that solution in NetSuite One World, right? Which effectively provides an avenue to manage multiple entities under one single system, right? And that was helpful because, soon enough, we found that the closing was quicker. You eliminated manual data handoffs, allows time to go through steps that allows you to fix problems. So long story short, with the faster closing, it was a good result. We were able to clear all of that backlog in a span of 11 months. So that was a great result and very happy with.
Thanks for sharing, Dwayne. And on to your nightmare, Tanish. With more than 1,000 SKUs that change every 2 months, what kind of processes did you have to put in place to get the inventory visibility that you need?
Yeah, so context-wise, we actually just did our stock take a month ago, and we were able to achieve 90% accuracy.
Wow.
Now, that was from accuracy of 0% prior. So what occurred amazingly was, in fact, another metric we had was that our stock was valued at 1 million in our system on our Excel spreadsheets, which we had thousands of. After the stock take, it became 10 million, which was shocking to everyone that it occurred so fast. So prior to all of this, how we operated was we would have an Excel sheet sent to all the departments once a day. You would go in there and reserve your unit. And then, after a while, you would realize the unit is gone. Because what happens is your warehouse teams, your logistics teams are not in the same place. So we adopt a central warehouse philosophy. One warehouse in Singapore supporting all 10 of our subsidiaries. So you can just imagine the kind of complexity that gets involved in the operations. So what happened was that, to be very honest, NetSuite was our saving grace. Prior to it, we did 4 stock takes. We shut down our warehouse for about a week each time, affecting our operations for our clients. And each time, it took too long to reconcile the data, to bring it into the system, which is a constant pain point. You do a stock take, what's the most effective way to get the data back into the system? You can imagine 1,000 inventory adjustments. So what we realized was that NetSuite had a solution for us. It was WMS. And we were so happy with it. We saw how amazing it could be. Those are barcode scanners you always see in like Amazon warehouse videos that dramatically reduced. From needing 60 people to count our warehouse, we were down to 5. 5 people, one by one counting, operations was still running, and we could get data back. And it was amazing because our key stakeholders, we planned procurement, we planned supply chains. We never had data before to actually determine how do we move forward, and what brands do we partner with, and even things like 1,000 SKUs changing. So during COVID, there was a lot of supply chain shortage using microchips, so on and so forth. So every time a Samsung TV, for example, very simple product we're all used to, the minute they change one little screw inside, they are required to change the SKU because it has some special components you need to be aware of. So what happens? You imagine every 2 months, there's a supply disruption, you get a new SKU. But when you load your order to your client, you have that one little SKU there. So we were using a system prior to this. It was called Synthesis. It's a local ERP. It could not keep up with this. Reason being is, how do you tell a system that this same item is equivalent to all these different SKUs? And amazingly, with NetSuite, we were able to establish that. So it allows us to constantly change our partners in the sense that we're able to get different products in, get better products for our clients, while ensuring that our processes still stay aligned and effective for them.
Wow, thanks, Tanish. And I know you were touching on this earlier, Kelvin, as a social services organization or charitable organization, you have multiple sources of funding coming in, right? How do you track all this so that you have financial visibility and transparent reporting?
Right. Again, thanks again for the question. And being the last in the list, usually I say I agree with all the above, especially the one that Dwayne talked about, right? So as a fund recipient from various different government agencies and ministries as well. Keeping up to date with the different changes in funding points as well as regulations was a challenge for us. With NetSuite, with the system itself, we were able to do that almost now seamlessly, and the system allows us to update those regulations per se. So on that note itself, because it has a ubiquitous data pervasiveness across the management level, the management was able to now see what the whole entire change of the land or the lay in terms of regulation was. So not only just the fact that there was financial visibility, there was also regulation clarity, which is important. So as management within the family, while not everybody manages with it, having that clarity, like what Dwayne talked about, was important so that we can be on the same page when we talk about changes. I think the other part about financial sustainability, so visibility and transparency, is that now that we have put everything on the e-platform per se, it reduces the man in the loop, which was also alluded to by Dwayne as well. It reduces for definitely the amount of man hours that's needed. We estimate about, since we rolled out in 2021 till now, about 30% saving for the staff that's working on the very manual process of doing it to now E per se. And that reduces errors as well. So all in all, I think with the onboarding on NetSuite, it allows management that visibility in terms of what the regulatory changes are, what decisions that we need to make with these changes, and last but not least, it's also that rigor and that governance that we are able now to exude with that clarity of information as a single source of truth and undergirded by NetSuite per se.
Sure, thank you. And you know, in view of time, just one final question, you know, for all the panelists. One of today's major themes, you know, that Gary mentioned earlier on also is that all successful businesses, right, don't work in silos. Can you briefly tell us how NetSuite is helping you and your organization to collaborate with other teams, and how do you expect this to pay off in the future? Right, maybe starting with Dwayne?
Sure, Charles. It was very interesting because the implementation of NetSuite, you know, it was an exercise that was conducted, but it's interesting because it also helped to initiate one of the biggest cultural shifts we saw in the organization, a shift towards a more collaborative environment, right? And why that is the case is because, well, we've repeated a number of times, a single source of truth. Right, because, and I can imagine, you know, for some of you who try to have interdepartmental meetings, right? A lot of times you start the meeting and you want to discuss certain figures, and unfortunately, the first half an hour of that meeting is spent reconciling the numbers first, because it's like, wait, no, hang on, that number's not right. This is my number, you know, it does make, and so that's time wasted. And finally, when you all agree, you're halfway through the meeting, right? Now it's different, right? Because now you have a seamless flow of data. And my particular favorite is the role-based dashboards, right? And now you can have huddles where everyone looks at the same metrics. And that translates to the shift because now you have employees that are no longer second-guessing themselves. It encourages initiative and proactiveness. Like, I can go straight to this person because I know this number I'm looking at is the same as what supply chain is looking at, right? So it's quite encouraging, and the payoff is huge, right? Because you know there was mention of manpower savings. I see it as much more effective use of time, right? There's now more time spent in discussions on decision-driving tasks, right? And that's something that's really positive.
Thanks, Dwayne. Kanish?
Yep. So for us entirely, I think it aligns very similar to what Dwayne said. But for us, the difference is that consistency was our approach. So we had about 15 softwares prior to NetSuite. So exactly as Dwayne mentioned, we have gone to meetings where our sales team would say, no, this is my number. Finance would say, no, this is your number. That's what you should have. So the question becomes, who is right? So for us, the most important was not only that centralization, but consistency of workflows. So because we have so many different business units, so many different target markets, we have a multitude of workflows. So for us, the way to consolidate the way we operate was, how could we utilize an ERP to not only just store data, to let us do our basic transactions, invoicing, things like that, but become the central hub for management. That, for example, when we roll out business processes now, we don't roll it out on paper or policies, we roll it out through NetSuite, through its workflows, through its approvals, because it's a powerhouse of how do you create a system that not only doesn't silo people, but enables that connection between them. That a single task here has more value because it can inform other departments. So a simple thing like receiving goods. So what used to occur was when we received goods, we were unable to tell which project manager when the goods had arrived. So it could sit in our warehouse for 3 to 4 weeks for a client, and later we get an escalation. Hey, what's going on? Where's my good? We place an order for it, it should be in. What we could do in NetSuite is we empower that process rather, add more value to it, that a simple goods receipt can now inform other departments, hey, your thing's ready for collection. Please take it and go and do the next steps. So it's not, for us, it was not as direct as just getting central data, but ensuring that every department was forced to communicate with each other and that we add more value to a single task.
Thanks, Tanish. Kelvin?
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add to that. I know time is short per se. I think the internal culture shift, I think more can be said. We continue to see this being done to get the different departments working together, but I just want to take a different tack on it, right? One is, because as a social service agency, we hope now with going on a NetSuite and a single source of truth, we could bring the sector administrators in as well. I think it's important here, not just as an SSA alone, but how do we bring the whole entire sector on board? And we call this, at least in MICE, we call it high tech, high touch, right? If we can use tech to kind of leverage a lot of the mundane work in terms of reporting or KPIs to our sector administrators, and often not, it translates to volumes of Excel spreadsheet I got to sign off manually to our sector administrators, how nice it would be if they do come on board as well onto this whole entire journey. Then the time that they have doing this could be time spent on delivering services that the persons with intellectual disability community needs. That's one. Second other change is in caregivers, all right, whereby caregivers is also part of this conversation to change in terms of their confidence in terms of how social service agency, by embracing technology as well as data as part and parcel of the development of social service agency, to then churn the time that is safe to support their child, their sibling, and their ward. So within the organization is one cultural shift that we need to do. There's the other 2 C's, which is the custodians as well as the caregiver, which we hope that by SSAs and embodying more data-driven and tech solutions, we are able to make that shift and make Singapore truly an inclusive society on this note as SG60.
Thanks, Kelvin. Let's make the vision a reality. Gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all the time we have today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with all of you, and thank you for sharing your views through your lenses. All right, round of applause for our esteemed panel, Ms. Dwayne, Tanish, and Kelvin.